Yes! Welcome back to the Rat Cave. It's Ratzi here with the boy Jimi Needles, the old smacking lung. How's it going, my man?
It's good, my man, it's good.
Excellent. Mate, it's been a while. I say this in all of our collab videos. I'm like, it's been a while since you've been in the Rat Cave. Actually has this time.
Yeah, like a year maybe.
Oh. I think the last time that you were in here, funnily enough, I think we were doing an exact video like this, but for the Rain 1.
Yeah.
So, in this video today, guys, Jimmy has had this Hercules DJControl Inpulse T7 for a month?
1 month.
1 month. So the Rain 1 video that we did, you'd had it for 1 year.
Yep.
Actually. But anyway, the Hercules DJControl Inpulse T7, I'm going to be asking Jimmy what he likes about this controller, you know, a couple of gripes maybe, couple of standout features that you love about it, little bits and bobs that maybe you're not so keen on, and you know, we're just going to go through that. Let me just say first and foremost, guys, this isn't a full feature video. I've done that video. It was half an hour long, even though I said it was going to be short, like I always do. I will link it, you know, in the description of this one, or at the end, or up above here, or wherever it is. But if you want to know the full ins and outs of that, hit up that one. But in this one, yeah, we're just going to be going through it. This is super cash. I love doing this with you, man, because we can be honest, you know, and just talk about the controller in a real open, honest, casual way. Yeah?
Exactly.
Cool.
Make it cash.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So, right, Jimmy, let's literally start at the start. What was your first impression of this? When you unboxed it, when you got it out of the box, what did you think of it?
It's got some kind of big shoes to fill because you've got the 2 flagships. We can mention those.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's obviously
the flagships being the Pioneer DJ Rev 7, which is like 3 times the price of this.
Yeah, exactly 3 times at the moment. Yeah.
And the Rain 1, which is like twice the price of this.
That's it.
And you've played on now all 3 of them.
All 3, yeah.
So, I mean,
I've owned the Rain 1 as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's been, you know, I got a year of touring out of that. And now I've switched back to vinyl. But this is in a different ballpark. This is a, intermediate level thing now?
Mate, I can't really tell where this sits. I mean, I guess it's like entry level, sort of mid-range-ish, because it's got a little bit of everything going on. Some of the features on this are like entry, but then you wouldn't expect to see moving platters on an entry-level controller.
Well, that's it. So, like, my first impressions were, this is actually pretty decent. I immediately knew where everything was.
Yeah.
The motors were really strong, despite the one thing that we will not talk about, which is belt drive turntable.
Right, look, okay, no,
we got to bring that up. We have to bring that up.
Yeah. So look, let's just start. So you got it out of the box. I mean, mate, this is the build of it. So it's very lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't driving at the time. I had my Rain 1, and that was heavy. So yeah, this is so light, and it's still built pretty well. So that is another welcome pro. When I opened the box, really, I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I think the box was heavier, I think, but it was awesome. It's
really portable because of its lightweightness, but at the same time, it doesn't feel lightweight. I mean, you've been putting it through its paces.
It doesn't feel cheap either. Yeah. It's like it's still plastic, but like the Rev 7's got like plastic bits on it, and that still feels pretty pro. You know, what good build, robust quality. So immediately was I know where everything is. Like, it doesn't feel like an entry level machine controller. Like, you know, and I know. Like, the crossfader, of course, wasn't... I was expecting the Hercules and crossfaders don't really kind of make 2 and 2 together, but...
We'll get onto the crossfader. We'll talk about that in detail in a little bit. But so this controller, it works with Serato DJ Lite. It comes with. It works with Juiced, which I've been calling D-Juiced for ages. I found out the other day. But yeah, you've been using this with Serato DJ Pro.
Yep.
Can you just back up what I always tell everyone about doing the upgrade?
You can use it with the Lite, but just use it with Pro. Just go get Pro and just do it, and it unlocks so much more. Now the stems are thrown in. I mean, I've done a few videos which you'll see on socials soon. Yeah. But there's so much fun to be had. Now you've got like key correction and now stems thrown in. It's
the pitching time, the extra effects in there, being able to record your mixes, which I think is really important, you know, when you're especially learning how to DJ, so you can listen back to them and stuff like that. So you've been using this with Serato DJ Pro. Now, mate, you mentioned it then. Obviously, the big selling point of this controller is the motorized platters.
Yes.
They're 7 inches. You don't need, you can use whichever You can use whichever vinyl you want on it. Obviously, it has to be 7-inch or 45 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the slip mats which come with it. Now, let's talk about these moving platters. Now, you mentioned before they are not direct drive.
They're not, but you wouldn't notice it, and I actually haven't noticed it.
This is what I said.
So I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true. Like the Rain one is, you've got these big motorized metal platters, really good build quality. How is that going to measure up to that? And you know what? It feels a bit like a kind of portabilist turntable with a little bit more kind of strength. But I didn't know on opening the box that it was belt drive. I just got busy scratching and was like, this feels pretty good to me. And then I watched your video afterwards because I didn't want it to kind of taint my opinion on it. I was like, is it belt drive?
Yeah.
But okay, doesn't matter.
So I think that it's because they're smaller. If they were a 12-inch or even a 10-inch like the Rain 1 is. Is the Rain 1? No, the Rain 1's 7 as well. Yeah. But the Rain 1's direct drive. These are. I think that you would notice more. But and I'm happy, Jimmy, actually that you've brought up about the portabilist, because this is a portabilist DJ's dream, right? This has got to be someone. But when we say portabilist, guys, for people that don't know, hold on. Here we go then.
Oh, has he got one?
I've got one. Hold on. In fact, Jimmy,
dude, that's mine.
This is yours. So
I've been looking for that. There you go.
Right. So a portabilist.
I'll take that.
Busted. A portabilist is something like this. Like this. This is the Newmark PTO1 Scratch. You plug it in. It's basically a portable turntable.
Yeah. It's great for cutting on and like jamming with other DJs.
Yeah.
But like if you're into that more than kind of like rocking on a set of 1210s, but you still want to go and DJ at a party, I can see a lot of people jumping from that to the DVS using this.
Exactly.
The feel is very similar.
Yeah. I'm going to put this over here so you remember to take it out.
I'm looking for that since lockdown. Jeez.
So anyway, right, back to the platters. So yeah, you can use whichever vinyl you want on them, but what I would say, this controller comes with 2 different slip mats. You've opted for these. How does it feel? I mean, the reason why we always get Jimmy in, not only because he's my boy, but Jimmy's an amazing scratch DJ. So whenever something like this comes out, it's any excuse to get you here. How do they feel for cutting? How do they feel? What's the feel like for,
Like no lag, responsive. And I think that the fact that they've thrown in these actual pieces of record, like these 7s and the slip mats, and maybe the weight of the platter, there's no lag or there's very responsive basically. And I would happily cut on that all day, no drama. Because
the way that this works, this isn't like the Rev 7 or the Rain 1, where with the Rain 1 you clip it in. With the Rev 7, it's actually not a removable. I mean, you can take the thing off, but it's not actually a piece of it's more of a controller. I really do like the innovation that they've come up with for this, because it's so simple. And someone else could have done something so simple, but this is the best way to get, because now you can do the speed up, slow down, grab in the middle, Yeah.
And a lot of people complained about that, I think, on the other models, but
there isn't one on the Rev 7.
Well, I see, just nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that we do keep on sort of talking about the Rev 7 and the Rain 1, but one of the big things about the Rev 7 is the way that it's set out in battle mode. With this, you've got full-length pitch faders on each side here. What do you think of them for starters?
Preference, I could have... If I could design it, I would put it at the top here. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I use turntables the other way around, the normal way. Yeah. Which is,
You use them both. I mean, every time that I've seen you, we've always got them in battle. But
it's not... It's to me, that's like...
A niche.
A niche, and also... that kind of screams, oh, we haven't made this for the scratch DJ, but if they might be tempted to get one of these. So it's not the end of the world that they're not at the top. That's just my preference.
But as well with this, and I mean, I don't want to go too far into the beat match guide because I've done that in the other video, but the beat match guide where this kind of helps you, it teaches you how to DJ as well.
Yeah.
This is the traditional way to have your vinyl, right? So if you are learning how to mix on vinyl, I mean, battle mode is a niche, so you would kind of expect it to be in the traditional way if you're learning this way, So speaking of battle mode, actually, just quickly, while we're talking about this, you did mention to me that the pitch bend. You like to have the pitch bend on here, right?
I do. I think anything like that's going to be spinning like that, I think having a pitch bend is kind of crucial, because it does feel pretty much like a record. But also with experienced DJs who who were kind of beyond the beat match guide kind of capabilities and stuff, I think that they will be they'll feel the difference within like one beat when they drop it, and they'll go, actually, that's a little bit out, and then just a little adjustment. Yeah. And some people like to reach for the platter and give it, do the old push on the platter. Some people like to slow it down, using your fingers and stuff on the platter. But I quite like that, because if my hands near the crossfader, that's that's a millisecond adjustment. Yeah. And that's usually what it takes to kind of get everything in time. As
good as these are, we keep saying that they're belt drive. It is dodgy ground, sort of slowing and speeding up, touching or like that on a belt drive, because it might not have the torque to get straight back up to speed.
But then I haven't had any. I've mixed using all the kind of the methods like that, and I haven't had any issues with that either. So I've had this for a month, and I've DJ'd quite a lot on it in my studio. Yeah. And I just think that I really like the pitch bend on the Rain 1, and I'm glad it's on this, because it was nice to kind of, actually that's slightly out, I need to just adjust that. And like DJs will do that. This is human nature. If you're in a big loud club and you drop something and it's slightly out, fixed straight away.
It's just nice to have another option, isn't it? And I completely agree with everything that you said there. I said the same thing. And then above the pitch fader here, you mentioned within Serato DJ Pro, the key lock on this thing, right? Yeah. You were really impressed about that when it came to scratching slowly.
Right, so this is something that I've noticed on this unit, and I can't comment on the other kind of flagship models, but I actually used this unit the other day to do some scratching on a mixtape and someone's track, because it was set up, and I thought, you know what, I'll just use it. And I was doing some pretty slow kind of drags, and I realised that the key lock was on, which is kind of, you want to have the key lock off if you're doing scratching, but it didn't actually impact. Maybe because it's pure time code, I don't know, but it sounded really good at, scratching really slow and doing slow maneuvers and stuff. I was like, that's actually pretty good. That's actually quite impressive.
But again, as well, that's one of the bonuses of using this with Serato DJ Pro, because that's where the pitch and time kicks in, right? Yeah. So that might not be the case if you're using this with Serato DJ Lite. I don't know. I can't really comment.
But it sounded good.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So it sounds good with the key lock on anyway. So that's a touch there. All right then, mate. So underneath the pitch fader here, this section down here, we've touched on these bits over here. The auto loop, you said you like that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I like that kind of configuration where you kind of you figure your bar with the and then you click. I that's so easy.
It's just quick, isn't it? Yeah. Because there is a loop mode in the pad modes, but that's actually quite nice. It's more of a manual hands-on way to kind of do it. Yeah. So right, let's go over and talk about, I'm not going to go through all of the pad modes because I've already done that, but let's talk about the pads themselves. Like, you are a big finger drummer.
Indeed.
In both senses of the word. Sausage fingers and a big finger drummer. But yeah, so what do you think of the pads? Like, how do they feel?
Well, I don't really appreciate the clicky thing. I don't know. Right. I've never kind of appreciated that on battle mixes. I think that was the case on the Numark Scratch. Mm-hmm. And again, I thought, well, you're almost there with a perfect intermediate mixer. Why are there kind of clicky cue pads? But they are responsive. And I've done some pretty complicated kind of like cue drumming, etc. I haven't had any issues. I know that I've pushed the button. I don't need a click to verify it. Yeah. It's just preference.
Mate, but I think that, like you said, the Numark Scratch is a mid-range mixer. It's at a mid-range price point. This is at a mid-range price point. Yeah. There's got to be something which is more expensive about not having that click, or having a more like rubbery pad or thicker pad or whatever, touch sensitive or whatever the difference is.
They're great, but they're not MPC great. So,
sure. Okay.
So that's what I would say about that. And I wouldn't, if I was performing in a club or a bar environment, I wouldn't be worried that they wouldn't be responsive. I just don't want that.
Do you have to hit them quite hard, do you think? Or not? They are responsive, but
like there's no like velocity on them, so it's either that's not, that is on. Yeah. Oh, we've got some delay on that.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't had any issues with it. So yeah,
they're nice and like I like the way that they're bright and they're. I do like the pads, and it's nice that you've got 8 as well, rather than 4. Just I thought of that because the Numark Scratch actually only had 4 on the mixer. But anyway, so we'll talk about one of the pad modes, which has got stems. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's just nip over here first. The cue and the play buttons. What do you think about these? Because this might be one of your...
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds crazy. I don't use cue on any of the... I'm totally manual. So I'm like very much a kind of release the vinyl or CDJ platter and move the crossfade at the same kind of time, you know.
I'm exactly the same.
I just don't, but that's why they're there, because if people that are not used to doing that, that's right there. However, when you hit start, it's not an immediate start. So I was used to a Serato DJ Pro update where when you hit start, they might update this actually, so it could be done.
Okay.
But when you hit start on, for instance, the Rain 1, even though the motor powers up on the Rain 1, the music plays straight away as if it was like a CDJ play.
Right.
But this is not the case. It's like a startup.
And that's because of the spindle getting up to speed, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
but if the motor is off, which is what I found, you know, what you can do is you can hold down, if you're happy with the, if you use the cue points here, so here you go. Oh my. So that was like me just sustaining a hold on the pad and then hitting play, and there was no start. So that's a workaround.
That's really cool. So, actually, yeah. So it's a good way to think of it. It's like a digital start to then turn it into
exactly.
the motorized spin.
And that's fine. That's fine. Like, you know, I can live with that. It's a small adjustment. Like, yeah.
Right, mate. So pad modes. The main pad mode on this, and such a touch to have it on this, which is like we keep saying, sort of mid-range controller, dedicated stems pad mode. Now, Jimmy, be honest, right? You've only just actually got hopped on Serato 3.
There's a reason. I've been very busy and I didn't want the laptop to crash in front of like 5,000 people. So I just thought, you know what? I'll let the updates happen over summer and I'll hit it hard in the winter.
I'm exactly the same, mate. I'm just trying to pull your pants down in front of all these people. I'm not. Probably should say that. Yeah. But anyway, back to stems. Yeah, back to stems. So on this has got two different types of stems. You've got your instrumental and vocal straight up buttons there.
Groups, like, it's great. So that's just, that's super useful.
Especially like quite close to the sort of, you know, the mixer section when you're doing this and that kind of bit. But then also you've got this extended stems pad mode here, which is vocal. Just remind me of the order: vocal, melody, bass, and drums. And in the reels, which will be on socials, and I'll probably be cutting to a few of them here and whatever. You know, you're cutting in and out using these stems. Mate, tell me, as someone you are a mashup DJ like I am, you know, like, tell me in a nutshell how this is going to change the way that you DJ. Like,
it just allows you to be a bit of a kind of producer on the fly, and do really clever stuff. At first, I thought the stems thing was a bit gimmicky, but, because I'm an edit guy. But now, seeing... Do you know why I like it? It's because this is the dedicated section to it. Yeah. As opposed to it being an afterthought. Maybe even on the flagships, it's a bit of an afterthought. Because obviously it's the older models and such. But this is awesome. Like, as long as you've got Serato DJ Pro, you can go full in and go, I'll take the drums out of that one and drums in on that one. As you'll see in that video.
So actually stems works with Serato DJ Lite. As well, but you don't get, you know, the echo out. You don't get the use of these down here.
Yeah, so this is something I learned today because I didn't read the manual. So
I am the manual when it comes to this.
There's like each pad below the instrument that you're trying to isolate or you know, solo. There's a corresponding effect to that. So for instance, for the vocal, you've got like a kind of vocal echo out. So if we could find a little.
We've seen great power.
There you go.
That shows how good the stem separation is in Serato these days. Like, that's a scratch sample, which is just a vocal, and it's just taking the entire thing out. You know, it's absolute. But look, at the danger of chatting about stems for ages, you know, it's so good and it's so powerful.
I genuinely came into this today not playing on stems, because I just haven't had the headspace to do that. And I figured this morning I had a little look, and put something together, and it was easy. Yeah. And I'm like, it's all there. So, and also you don't have to use these. If you just want to use instrumental and vocal on each channel, you've got these buttons here, which I started on, and when I got a bit more like used to the kind of the layout, jumped onto stems. And it's only pad mode 3 on each deck. So there's your hot cue, there's your stems.
Yeah.
Hot cue, stems.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Look what happens if you go vocal, it gets rid of the other elements of the track. If you go instrumental, vice versa.
If you get stuck and you forget what you've taken in and out and everything like that, you know, that's you just get straight into there, or you know, you can take them all out and have them all, you know, all out and all in and everything. Look, guys, check out the reels that Jimmy's done, the mashup reels using the stems. Again, I will link them in the description of this one. So, mate, let's get away from stems because I can talk about that forever, right? Okay, mate, so let's move on to the mixer section now. So we sort of touched on it earlier about the pitch faders being over here and not in battle mode, but this is actually a battle mixer.
It's a very familiar layout.
Yeah, you know, you've got your 3-band EQ up here, your filter knobs here, and then your paddles to turn the effects on. Now, let's talk about the filter knobs.
Yeah, they don't feel cheap, they feel good.
Yep, they're solid, they've got the center click. Obviously, everything on this T7 is all software based. So whether you're using it with Juiced or Serato, you know, the filter is within the software.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can customize that at this point. I think that is a dedicated filter. I don't think you can change it to a low pass or a high pass or actually customize it into something else. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will in the comments who has read the manual. But look, let's jump down under here. So you've got 6 effects buttons here. You can have all 6 on at once.
Yep.
Don't do it. But then you turn the effect on by, you know, you can hold it up there, or you've got the momentary here. So let's talk about the effects a little bit here as well, and another little nudge to Serato DJ Pro.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few internal effects that I use. There's the combi fade, which is really useful if you're kind of looking for a kind of quick getaway out of a song into a next song. That's kind of handy because it's a delay, a beat repeat, and a filter all in one.
Yeah.
So if you end it on if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 4, if you lose it on the 4, you get a really nice kind of like snare delay into whatever you're mixing next, and it's just really useful to have that to hand, really. And it's just because it's powerful. On the software, and
you can layer them all up if you want. You know, it's great to have them. And but what I'm saying about Serato DJ Pro is you get more effects in Serato DJ Pro than just the standard that you get in Lite. Yeah. So in terms of the effects, you know, so you're happy with the software effect.
Yeah, when you're using to go back to the stems very quickly, but when I'm using vocal isolation, I'll probably add a bit of reverb on it because I mean, as it is at the moment, the AI rip from the stem is okay.
It's pretty good in Serato. Serato's one of the best out there.
But if you can kind of enhance / kind of hide the imperfections with a bit of reverb, which is why singers love it so much.
Sit it better into the mix.
You know, and that's you'll probably see it in the reels. That's what we do. We just add a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb to kind of compensate for that. But yeah, can't complain. Yeah,
for sure. So, all right, mate, underneath here, then, this is the big talking point, to be fair, of this T7, because motorized platters, of course, this is going to attract scratch DJs like yourself, but on this T7, there isn't any sort of special kind of up faders or crossfader. Now, since I did my full review of this a couple of months ago, there has been now a dedicated inner fader mini, which you can buy to upgrade this. That's 140 English sterling pounds. Don't know what it is in dollars. Sorry, guys, over the seas. But
$140.
probably at the moment, yeah. Christ. But yeah, in this at the moment, I mean, before we talk about that, what do you think of the fade? Like, let's start with the up faders. What do you think of the up faders here?
Usually, I'd tear this apart and be like, these up faders are just not what, you know. But this is not, to me, this is not screaming battle controller. Okay. This is like a motorized controller that could be used for the scratch DJ.
Yeah.
And it's like the up faders not being as buttery as even the crossfader is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that either. So
because the up faders are actually, they're a little bit stiffer than the crossfader.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I think that they are actually all the same. Like I said, this isn't a mag or an inner fader already in here. So okay, I mean they're not ideal, but for someone who's got this, they might not be doing. Is it the Euro scratch that you do?
We won't be doing that.
No, not on here. So I mean, they work for mixing and blending, but not very good for scratching on the up faders. That's, you could argue, quite a niche thing to be doing anyway. So, mate, let's talk about the crossfader then.
So, I, again, didn't know that they were going to bring out, was it inner fader?
Yeah, I think, right, so it's an inner fader mini, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can...
That's a solid fader.
Yeah, so it costs £140. You have to put it in yourself. You have to unscrew this and you have to put it in on because this is soldered, I think. So it might be a bit of a ball ache. What I wanted to ask you, mate, is do you think, I think the tough thing with this is if this was, let's say, £150 more expensive, so if this was 750 quid, but it came with an inner fader in it, do you think that it would be worth them doing that? Or do you think
so?
Yeah, you do.
Because if you've bought this and you're a bedroom DJ looking to kind of like learn vinyl skills, you can get by with what they provided with inbuilt, and the crossfader is fine. All of the cuts and the reels that are coming up, this is all out of the box crossfader. Yeah. It's fine. It's not amazing, but the real test is the crab scratch. I'm getting all 3 clicks on that, so it's good. But I would love to have seen this with the kind of enhanced fader in, because 99% of people who bought this
are going to be scratching with
probably,
it.
yeah. But even though it's not geared to the scratch DJ, it kind of is and it isn't. And I think if you buy that, then you kind of tailor the model towards that.
Do you mean that in a way that this fader doesn't feel great to scratch with? Or do you mean that in a way that this fader is going to get broken if you scratch on it for a long period of time? So I think there's a difference, because it doesn't matter if you put an inner fader in here. This is the only fader control you've got on this thing.
Well, that's okay. You can adjust it in there.
You can adjust but you can't adjust the physical crossfader feel or tension.
No.
You can change it in the software, and you can reverse it. Actually, we realised earlier. You can.
So when you're scratching the other way around in like a reverse or hamster style, if you're old school, you can flip the fader in the software, and it's great.
Yeah.
But I would happily pay another 150 to get the whole package, because if you're going to buy the upgrade, you've actually got a contender for some of the top tier. You can do a lot of the things that the top flagship, motorized controllers can do. So you've upgraded from an intermediate level controller to it's somewhere in between a pro and an intermediate. So I think they must have known that when they put it on the market.
So you bring it out at £600 without it for the people that that are learning on it and don't need the pro fader, and then they bought out or done the deal with inner fader to bring out, so the more experienced scratch DJs can pimp it up. I mean, you said about this being for portabilists.
So those are portabilists.
Mate, any excuse to
they love modding, don't they?
Mod, yeah, literally.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Don't even do it. Go and buy stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like those are the guys that will go, actually, you know what? It's 99% there, and that's something that will just turn this into like a semi-pro piece of kit.
Yeah.
And I think they've kind of crunched the numbers, and it's actually the price point is still exceptional.
I think Hercules. I reckon that we do this video in the future with the inner fader mini in it, and you tell me what you think of it then with that in it, and if it makes that much of, I mean, it is obviously going to be a difference to you with how it feels, but how much of a difference because of the adjust and stuff like that. Anyway, look, hold it there a minute. So in this video, Jimmy and I obviously talk a lot about upgrading this Impulse T7, the crossfaders with the inner fader mini 3 crossfader pack, right? What we didn't mention, what we forgot to mention, is that Hercules have actually got their own premium fader module, which you can update directly with Hercules. And as you can see, it's $69.99. It's actually half the price of the inner fader one. So I mean, this is excellent. So I don't normally do this after after I've finished and shot a video and finished it, but I had to include this in this video. So shout out to Hercules. With this premium fader module for the T7, you get 3 faders, and you get a new gold faceplate, which looks absolutely banging. And yeah, they're a lot sturdier, and they are the upgrade for this T7, and it's half the price of the inner fader one. So anyway, yeah, just wanted to slip that in. Let's get back to the video. Right, so Jimmy, let's draw a line under this. Let's conclude. What are your sort of final thoughts about this controller, and where do you think it sits in like the industry? Who should buy it?
Who should buy it? I think portabilists that need a DVS solution, because it feels very much like using the little turntable we got earlier on.
Yeah.
And DJs that want the kind of scratch feel that are experienced with controllers and Serato. I don't think it's aimed at people that are die-hard scratch DJs, but that being said, with the inner fader installed, perhaps it will hold its own.
Yeah.
Because the like tactile-wise, feels incredible. It's like using Phase or Rain 12 or Rain 1. It feels I can't fault that. So
there's no lag.
There's no lag.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's a solid piece of kit. I'm still like can't believe it's 600 quid.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know everybody can't, but it's because you give up. You have to make this little sacrifices, like having not a pro fader in there. Like not having a microphone EQ, not that kind of thing.
Despite the fader not being pro tier, I've got away with pretty much everything I wanted to get away with in these scratch reels.
Oh, for sure.
So
killed it.
Thanks, man.
Killed it, actually. Yeah.
So even straight out of the box, it's killer. Does it sit next to the flagships in the kind of motorized controller world? No. But it's awesome.
You can't compare it to them though, Jim. You can because of the motorised platters. That's the only thing that's the comparison with this, because this is in a completely different price range. It's like we said, the 3 tiers of the motorised controllers at the moment. 1,800, what, 1,200?
600.
600.
Yeah.
Like, mad.
If you're big on remixing on the fly as well, and you also want that kind of old school feel, just the way it's laid out for stems, I learned so quickly today because I just updated the Serato. I just learned very quickly, put a few routines together, bosh, and it sounded cool. Yeah. So there's so much creativity to be had, ignoring all of the kind of motorized bits and the scratch parts and stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, it really just taps into the software big time.
Yeah, and speaking of like sort of learning on it and stuff, you've got the beat match guide and the beta line and all that stuff like that teaches you how to mix and stuff, which is great on a motorized controller.
Yeah, because Hercules are like all their stuff's been kind of
they're teaching
exactly, and that's really important.
And but there's one thing, learning how to do that and nudging and all that on on a normal controller like the 500, the Hercules Impulse 500. But doing it on a moving platter is a different, and then the person that's learned on this can then learn on some turntables.
Oh, it's so transferable. Those skills, absolutely.
Yeah, it's banging. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of this controller if you've got it yourself. Let me know. Would you update 140 quid, upgrade the crossfader? That's a no-brainer for me personally. And yeah, keep an eye out. I'm going to be posting Jimmy's scratch reels and routines, mashup routines and stuff like that. Jimmy, the old slap and hug. So great to have you here. Hercules, send us a modded one.
Do it.
And we'll do this again. But anyway, guys, until next time, make sure you like the video, share it to anyone who might be interested. Don't forget to subscribe to the DJ Kit YouTube channel. Until next time, take care.
Peace.
Peace.